here from Double Exposure. This is all about how and why I started learning skateboarding at age 29. If I look extremely warm in this video, please excuse me. It's because I am extremely warm. It's very, very hot in here. Literally sitting here with ice packs on me. Oh, that feels nice. But I'm here. I'm ready to go. Let's do this. Okay. So you probably know people who took up a quarantine hobby of some sort. For me, that hobby was skateboarding. Prior to quarantine, I had absolutely zero experience. I couldn't even balance on a skateboard. Luis, on the other hand, spent his childhood and teen years skateboarding, and he was so good that he was even sponsored by a brand starting at about when he was 13. But he's barely skateboarded at all in recent years and didn't even own a board for years. So Luis notices pretty much anything that our neighbors are getting rid of when he's out walking Bernie, and one day he came across this really great skateboard deck. Looked like it hadn't even been used, it was brand new. So we brought it home and he told me it would be for me if I ever wanted to learn. Pretty soon he put some trucks on it and some wheels and it was ready to go. Then he decided just to get a cheap board for himself, and ironically now the board that he has is much more suited for a beginner. It's wider and flatter. Whereas the board that he gave to me is much more suited to do tricks that I can't do. But I've asked him if he wanted to switch and he said no. So that's the board that I have. So one day in May, after these boards were sitting around the house for a while and I didn't have much better to do in quarantine, I decided, well, I might as well start learning. And the first thing that I found out pretty quickly is that it's more natural for me to ride regular, which is left foot front. Luis actually rides goofy, which is right foot front. And he thought that I might ride goofy too, but as it turns out, I'm the status quo. I spent some time just riding back and forth on this really nice flat, concrete, smooth part of the parking lot by our apartment until I felt like I could really balance on the board. And while I was doing that, I learned that skateboarding can be like a moving meditation. I had to put 100% of my focus into keeping balance, learning to push, actually moving forward. So I was fully in the present and I found it really calming to just ride and feel the gentle breeze in my hair and the constant sound of the wheels beneath me. So I started to understand this lure of skateboarding, that it's not just about getting somewhere quickly, but that it puts you in this state of mind where your problems kind of fall away and it's just you and your board. So here's me after I could balance a bit. I was just getting used to my board a lot more and I started going down very slight slopes. So I'm slowly learning and practicing. There was a few weeks there where I was just thinking about skateboarding all the time. And I started watching YouTube videos about skateboarding. And of course, because it's YouTube, I just started getting recommended more and more videos about skateboarding. So I was watching these different videos, and sometimes Luis would come home and watch with me and he'd point something out and tell me about a trick, tell me about the history of a trick, and it was really interesting. That's when I learned about the OG Rodney Mullen. If you're not into skateboarding, he's considered the godfather of skateboarding. He pioneered tricks like the kickflip back in the 70s and was already just blowing people away with the skills that he had. He's also super intelligent, and if you ever watch an interview with him, you can tell he's just genuinely one of the sweetest and kindest people.
To me, look, I'm just clicking around doing my thing. Skating's given me everything I have and more, and the older I get, the more I value the way it connects us. That's what matters.
Learning about Rodney Mullen endeared skateboarding to me even more. His outlook on it is beautiful.
Skaters, I think they tend to be outsiders who seek a sense of belonging, but belonging on their own terms.
So after I watched all these videos, I started wanting to work on my ollie, which is basically the foundation of any skateboard trick. Here's a bit of the progress on my ollie that I've made so far. you can see, it's not fully there yet. I haven't been practicing much in the past couple of months, but hopefully when I return to doing it consistently, I can get it down. But also Luis likes to remind me that it's more important to keep riding around and keep getting more comfortable on my board, and the ollie will come. It's important to be in control of every small movement on my board if I'm going to start learning to do tricks. Speaking of getting better control on the board, I haven't yet mentioned the downsides of skateboarding. So within probably a 3-week period, I scraped up this elbow pretty badly on bad falls. I got pretty arrogant early in the game, not knowing my limits, and I decided to take this hill. Big mistake. The fall tore through these pants and scraped my knee up, and I think that was one of my elbow ones too. I also slammed my knee hard once, and that took quite a while to heal. There wasn't a visible bruise or anything, it felt like a deeper injury. So that fall got me out of the habit of practicing a little bit each day, so I was just letting it heal. And the thing that I found about getting hurt is that when I do skate again, I'm in my head because I'm a little scared. And so much of skating is mental that if you think you're gonna fall, you probably will. But I'm healed now. I'm a little bit older and wiser about not doing things that I shouldn't do yet, or skating on janky sidewalks like this one, which is an actual injury spot right here. So I think it's time to get back to practicing a little bit at a time to improve and let the mental effects help me out as well. And honestly, it's much more physically demanding than I had thought. Pushing constantly takes a lot out of me. Granted, I'm very out of shape, but still. Lastly, just a comment about age. When I was in my early 20s, for some reason I already felt like I had missed some imaginary time window to learn skateboarding that I needed to learn when I was a teenager. And now that I'm 29, I think that's pretty silly. Especially when I watch videos of people like Tony Hawk and Rodney Mullen and Daewon Song. I'm not saying I'm gonna go pro like them, definitely not. But just seeing them shows that it's not uncool or dumb to keep skating throughout your life and to not worry about your age. Another thing about age is that I actually feel younger when I'm skateboarding. I have this feeling like people who see me out in public think that I'm younger, and it's kind of fun. It makes me feel how I felt when I was a little younger, a little more adventurous than I am now. Once I land a great ollie, I'll have to give an update. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoy skateboarding, if you have any tips for me. I'm trying this pointing thing out. It may look stupid. We'll see. Like and subscribe and all that, please. And I'll leave you with an attempt at following myself on the drone while skateboarding. It was pretty touch and go since I'm still a beginner skateboarder and I had to do both things at the same time, but here's the best that I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you Friday.